What is going on, movie snobs fans? Welcome to another episode. Still have no idea what episode number we are currently at. I'm Matt Wills Onesti, here with my best friend in the entire world, Balls from Elwood, and we are bringing you today another one of our movie snobs episodes. In case for some reason this is the first episode you decided to click on and said, "Hey, what the fuck are those guys up to?" I don't know. Let's see. The point of the movie snobs podcast is I, Matt Wheels on SD, had a very, very, very pretentious view of movies for a better part of my life, and Balls from Elwood has had an incredibly ridiculous taste in movies filled with gore, tits, violence, and B movies galore, things that I never thought I'd be into. So we thought, hey, wouldn't it be a great idea if we expose each other to some of the shit that in our wildest dreams we would never actually go towards? And surprise, surprise, it's worked out amazingly. So without further ado, this week, Balls from Elwood gave me the movie Barbarian, and I gave him one of my favorite documentaries, Burden of Dreams. And we are going to start this off. You know what, Balls? You want me to take
Yes,
the
sir.
You want me to start it off?
Yeah, you know what? Start it off, bro.
I'm going to
Let's do
start
it.
it off because you know what? This was a really fun one. I like when you give me contemporary horror movies and then you do like a nice mix of like,
Yeah,
here's
you know
something
what?
from
I
like
don't do that a lot, so we've been kind of on a roll. So I figured I might as well continue this roll. And yeah, I was good. I got to be honest with you, dude. Everyone I know is dying to hear your thoughts on this.
you ready
What
for
what
this?
what movie? What movie
You
was it
ready for
again?
this?
Barbarian.
I was given Barbarian by former whitest kid you know cast member and writer Zach Cregger.
Tell me
And
that's not crazy in and of itself, right?
I didn't know what to expect going to this movie, and I'm just going to say it up front. I fucking loved this movie so goddamn much. Like
Oh.
this fucking movie blew in the words of comedian TJ Miller, this movie blew my dick out of my asshole. That
Well, that's quite
that
a storm, buddy.
that is like okay. So first and foremost, the scariest horror movie I've ever seen. Like
Really?
hands down, this I don't know what it was about this movie, but it scared the shit out of me and made me so deeply uncomfortable in so many different ways that weren't they didn't feel like they were being done just for shits and giggles. They were opportunities that were so fucking earned, even down to like the crazy. Again, spoiler alerts for this. Watch the movies first if you really want to, or if not, fucking deal with it. Down to the fucking basement lady that just shows up out of nowhere. Like, when I see that at first, I was like, "What the fuck is this a zombie movie?" All of a sudden, no, like the fact that this was accomplished with zero supernatural bullshit, that's what fucking threw me over the edge with this movie where I was like, okay, this might be my favorite horror movie ever created because it was so different. It was so fucking like and it was like funny. There was like really funny moments where like I know it wasn't being played as funny, but again, because of knowing of Zach Cregger's background and then also having a background in comedic editing, like there were certain times, like my brother came in at hilariously the weirdest part of the movie and the worst part. I filled him in immediately, but like he comes in it was right when Justin Long character like first discovers the baby room, and then there's just like the baby video being played, and then all of a sudden Justin Long's being chased, winds up in that fucking dungeon basement, and she's just trying to feed him.
Yeah.
But like when so with that fucking hairy like that fake hairy nipple and Tess's character going, drink it, just drink it, come on, drink it, It reminded me of Fear, Loathing in Las Vegas when he's putting the ticket. He's like, take the ticket. Come on, take it. Take the ticket. Like, it felt like such a fucking fever dream, and I was laughing my ass off and gagging.
Oh, dude,
Um,
I still, that's still,
it was like it was so and the Justin Long character was fucking hilarious. Like it was so like the worst human being ever. Who from Jump Street you're like, yeah, he raped the girl. And then somehow at the end openly admits to raping the girl, but then still makes it about himself. Like just the worst type of fucking piece of shit that you could ever be around. But like the characters were awesome. Like every character was just like how to ignore every fucking red flag that you could ever see in life. Tess ignored every fucking red flag that a woman entering a situation with a strange man, like just she should have left so many fucking times. The other fucking dude, I can't remember his name, but Alex
Skarsgård.
Skarsgård's character, like just continuing to go deeper in the basement without letting Tess know what he's doing. Or, number one scenario, right? I go into a basement, there's a camera and fucking like a bed with blood. My first call, the police. I'm going to call the police and I'm going to say, hey, police, I'm in an Airbnb. There's a basement with a camera and a bloody wall. Can you get over here? I'm not waiting. I'm not going anywhere. I'm calling the cops. And I like, it was fucking awesome. And then also that it turned into a final girl trope. Like the fact that they still accomplished the final girl trope after like really, really perfectly misdirecting it the entire time to where you're like, everyone's gonna fucking die. There are gonna be no survivors. And then final girl. It was pretty sweet. Also, the needle drop to Be My Baby, again, another one of the funniest fuck. Like, that was one of the best needle drops I've ever seen. And also the funniest fucking needle drop because of the context of the movie.
Well, dude, I can't be happier enough to hear your positive outlook. I feel that is probably one of the most modern, masterful told stories in horror right now. I can't even begin to tell you how excited I am for Weapons because I keep reading that it's as good, if not better, than Barbarian,
Yeah,
which is
I'm gonna
I
try
don't
and
even know how that's possible. So,
so what he did with that is so interesting because it was like three different movies in one. Like the first movie ends when you realize that there's a fucking sub basement dwelling fucking lady, and then it's like this snap cut, and you're like, where the fuck am I? And then all of a sudden you're in a completely different story until you're not in a completely different story. And then that fucking flashback shit, like that was able to hold on its own, then explaining like why there was a genetically mutated fucking freak living in a basement just asking for baby. Like that shit was, I don't know, like it was such a cool, it was so fucking different. And now I can totally see why Jordan Peele fired his manager when he couldn't get the distribution rights for fucking for weapons. Like,
oh, I get it, man. I feel like in the beginning it's very very Hitchcockian to me, which I'm a sucker for, and I love how like it has that slow ratcheted up suspense. That's why I said whenever you first watch this, try not to read as much as you can read about it. Try not to watch any trailers. Try to go in completely blind because it has such a great a great so many twists and turns and red herrings that like you don't want to ruin like 1 second.
there is zero, if you don't know what's going on, like if all you read from this, because all I read from this movie was when I went on Netflix to watch it, all I read was the description that Netflix gave. Even with that, there is zero way to guess what is coming next in this movie. Like it quite literally, like it literally goes deeper and deeper, but then also is just like it just keeps going and going. And it's like a type of yes anding that just leads to absolute destruction. And I was in love with it. And we'll come back to this later because I think we're going to probably wind up wrapping back around to this conversation after we talk about the pick that I gave you, but here's how I can express how much I love this movie and what this movie did for me. Is after I was done watching this movie, I had a feeling that I've had before watching other movies. When we talk about when I watch some of these pretentious movies, and especially like you know the what Fireman's Ball means to me as a movie. So when I finished watching this movie, when I finished watching Barbarian, um, I had two thoughts. One, that was fucking dope, and two, okay, it's my turn now. Now I really, really, really want to explore this medium because like what Zach Cregger did with that inspired me as an artist to want to try and like I want to try my hand now more so at the horror genre than just little experimental shit or like when I made my short film last year, I was making it specifically for like a horror festival, so I was trying to. This is me going, no, I really just want to make this because I want to fucking make something because there was so much below the surface psychologically to that I want to feel that feeling because it seemed like he was telling a story of like, okay, here's what happens when you ignore red flags or when those hairs on the back of your neck stand up. Here's why you should follow them, while also simultaneously telling a story of like, here's a worst case scenario that came from the loss of suburban of the moving of suburbanization because the factories went out and you had all these suburbs and dilapidated houses and sort of like these areas that are untouched by society and the police and people and I think that I think that was so cool because it was political, it was social, it was psychological, and I want to fuck around with that now, really, really, really badly. So that's sort of my takeaway from that. I think one of the final words of how I can express why I felt that way. It inspired me creatively.
Well, I have to. I was doing this earlier, and you know why? Because nothing makes me smile more than to see somebody motivated and inspired by horror. Like, not only that, I mean, there's correlations between you and Zach Cregger too, man. Like, you come from a comedy background, he comes from a comedy background.
So I think that's what attracted me so much and got me like it. I think this is why this was the perfect movie to get me to push me over that hurdle because I've been incredibly horror curious for the last couple of years as we've been doing this and slowly dipping my toes into the horror world. Um, but I haven't watched that thing. Although I've watched some awesome, awesome fucking shit. We've had some amazing conversations about movies. I haven't seen that thing yet that made me go, fuck, this might actually be my lane.
Hmm.
This might actually be the avenue of telling stories because what Zach Cregger was doing with this, there was comedic elements, but those comedic elements were really, really, really hidden and kind of stuff below. That way, as you're seeing this dark shit, like I can only imagine people watching this wondering to themselves, that's a really graphic scene of Alex Skarsgård having his head smashed into a wall. But why do I feel like I need to laugh? Why do I feel something in me that's telling me I need to release this discomfort? And it's because of the choices that he's making as an editor in revealing, in withholding information. And that's something that it's what makes a guy like Jordan Peele such an amazing horror director, I guess, and what's going to make Zach Cregger amazing is like comedy and horror are so linked. And it's like that tension build, it's either going to be released through a laugh or it's going to be released through a holy fucking shit. And it seems like the greats are able to elicit both simultaneously.
That's a really good point because what I was going to say matches exactly what you're saying. Because if you look at some of the best and scariest horror films in history, like just a quick example, Creepshow, the funny parts are funny, the scary parts are scary. And a lot of the times the funny parts are there to diffuse the scary parts, because if you didn't have that, you didn't have, like you had said earlier, that release, it's going to be so dour that it's not fun at all. So that's I mean, because I mean that's why you have so much comedy horror. I mean, horror and comedy has always kind of been,
Yeah.
ample partners. So I'm glad you pointed that out. Mm.
Oh, and there was so much to it. And I could go on and on and on and on about this. So I think we'll wind up coming back about what the artistic journey is. So I really really want to know. With that being said, how did you feel about my pick for you?
What was your pick again?
My pick for oh, you don't remember what you watched?
Burden of Dreams, right?
Burden of Dreams by who? Do you remember?
Well, see, that's the part that confused me. It's a Werner Herzog movie, but it was why was it? I wanted to
It's
ask you
not.
why
No,
is it?
it's not a Werner Herzog
But
movie.
it's about Werner Herzog.
Sure, but it's not a Werner Herzog movie. It's a Les Blanc documentary.
See, that's
Um,
the part I want to explain. I thought that I was trying to set up here. I
yeah.
wanted you to explain to me why is it that guy's movie when he's making a movie about Werner Herzog making a movie? Hmm.
One, it's a it's a big part of documentary making.
Okay.
Because Les Blanc, at least to me, is one of my favorite documentarians to ever live. And I was actually going back and forth on which one that I was going to give to you from him.
Hmm.
Um, and I figured I knew the movie one was going to be the better one as opposed to the music one because I know your movie taste a little bit better. But it was Les Blanc deciding that what Werner Herzog was doing with Fitzgeraldo was so ridiculous and interesting that he took it upon himself to just kind of follow Werner Herzog around during the production of
Hmm.
that movie and sort of capture what it was. So now, with kind of that being understood, I'm very curious of kind of your interpretation of what you saw and kind of what
Well, first,
was
I have
saying.
to I have to tell you right off the bat, I couldn't have been more thrilled when I heard that it was about Werner Herzog because absolutely love him, and like I love a lot of his stuff. And I'll be honest with you, man. Like I was really, really pumped to watch it. Like normally I'll go in kind of blind, but when I had that little shred of, that was enough for me. I'm a sucker for documentaries too, by the way. Which you hit me on both bases already, so I was already pretty excited. And yeah, I watched it the other night, and I think it's probably one of the best documentary thing I've ever seen. Like easily. Yeah, it was. I couldn't turn it off because like there was parts where I kept getting interrupted with things, and you had to pee and blah blah blah. And I'm like, it's one of those things where I'm like this. I'm like, because I do this to XT all the time. Like I gotta pee, but it's so I don't want to leave because I don't want to miss nothing. And she'd be like, "Do you have to go somewhere?" And I'm like, "Yeah." And she's like, I could just pause it, right?" And I'm like, "But I don't want to miss anything." She's like, "Yeah, that's why we pause it." Like. But it was this dude. I was so knee deep engaged in it because, like, I love Triumph of the Will stories, which I almost feel like this is surely one of those. And it's one of those things. I mean, this ain't the first movie he's made where he's just completely plagued by problems. And, like, he's such a sympathetic character to me because, I mean, as you know, as a filmmaker, a writer, and all that stuff, this is a good blueprint of what's going to happen when you try to when you try to succeed, trying to like carry out your vision and your dream, and more often than not it goes exactly the way it does in this film. And I was pretty blown away the fact that Mick Jagger initially was before Kinski. Like I was just like, what? That threw me for a loop. But
It would have been a totally different type of movie.
I could do a whole show or probably 10 shows about Klaus Kinski. That I was just describing him to my buddy today at work, and I'm like, in fact, even at XT, I was like, incredible actor, one of my favorite actors, great actor, not so good human being.
Very interesting type of human being.
But yeah, man,
So, what did you think of? So, and then this kind of goes back to why this is a Les Blanc picture and no one else. Is What do you what do you think Les found in his documentary?
I don't know. I mean, it can be interpreted in many ways, but like I think the biggest feeling I got was like sometimes you got to kind of listen to other people when they're trying to direct you and tell you like this is a really bad idea, you shouldn't do it. And then you know it's an exercise in futility where you're so stubborn that you have this thing in your head and you're like I can't get past it. Like I know what's best more than everyone else, and clearly that did not happen. It's like I mean I just whenever I thought I'd seen the worst of it, it would just keep it would just keep ratcheting. I'm like, by the end, I was just like this. I'm like, what the fuck else could possibly go wrong? And then all that, and then you're like, oh my god, you're like, okay, okay, they found the way. Like I haven't watched a movie in this long where I was like so like emotionally invested and reacted to, and I'm like, I'm in my chair like this, and I'm like, what the fuck? Like I'm not even a dude that usually talks in a movie, or I hate when people talk in a movie. And I'm here by myself and I'm screaming at the TV and I'm like, what the fuck? And like,
What are you
what are
doing?
you fucking doing? Like, and then like, oh my god, with the fucking arrow in the neck. Oh, dude, I
Yeah.
still got the fucking heebie-jeebies. Fucking like when that happened, like my blood turned cold. Like that was worse than a fucking horror movie, dude. For me, for some reason, I don't know what. Like that emotionally, fucking. I'm just like, oh my god, is he dead? What the fuck? And then you know, with the boat, I'm like, oh, like I'm just
Are we
like,
gonna die?
yeah. I was like, and then I start like the wheels start spinning because then I start thinking beyond the movie where I'm like, holy shit, like how did he fucking live through that and cope with that and fucking that's got to psychologically fuck you up. And how did he work with Klaus Kinski? No, I mean I mean that's been
So so you asked a question that Les Blanc kind of got an answer to from Werner Herzog of why he kept going. Do you remember
yeah,
that?
yeah, yeah. It was very poignant because it was like
Yeah.
it was after I guess after all the calamity had happened, right? And then
Yeah.
they go to him and he kind of just gives like his whole you know as a matter of fact thing
It was that marching order. And
yeah.
I've had this conversation before in the past off air, but it's almost that marching order that you get as a creative of I have to see this through. And I think that's why to me that's one of the best documentaries. Even I mean, I don't need to speak super hyperbolic, but on the very least, at least about filmmaking and
Oh,
about what the
absolutely.
process of filmmaking looks like because although it's an absurd situation, it showed the true absurdity in the obsession of filmmaking and
Yeah, you
trying to
see it
create that.
throughout. Like, and I'm like, and it's funny because like you can't truly relate to it unless you are a creative. And then
Yeah.
when you are a creative, you're like, oh, I would do the same thing probably, and I would fuck up the same ways. Because you want you don't want anything to stand in your way of from here to there to get to that fucking plateau. You know, I mean, oh
And and I think what a better allegory to all of it, or what a better metaphor to all of it, is it's a preposterous story about a man trying to get a boat through the jungle,
yeah,
physically through the jungle. And it's also a movie where to make that happen, production has to literally try and get a boat through the jungle. And that, I think that's one of the best ways if someone asks you, what is it like making a movie? What's it like trying to tell a story? And what's it like trying to fucking, whether you're doing a 5 minute piece with your friends in the backyard, what is it like trying to fucking pull people together, get actors who to learn their lines and get the camera in the right place at the right time so the sun's hitting it the right way and you get the light and get the sound going the same way. What is that like? It's like trying to pull a fucking boat through the jungle.
yeah, man. And as you know, like even if there is times where you even do have all those moons and stars aligned, and it still doesn't happen. So I mean, yeah, the allegory to that is just it's just yeah, completely because like I could see all that. I was seeing that stuff pretty early watching it, like you know the
Yeah.
comparison to that and like real life filmmaking. But yeah, man, you hit another home run because like it's this would definitely go in my top five documentaries I think I've seen of all time. In fact, I'm actually still thinking about it. Like that's how I know I really enjoy something. I seen it what a day or two ago, and I'm still thinking about it. Like it's still living rent free in my head. So I
And the
mean,
style, like I think what I like about Les Blanc's style is it's very, very cool. And you don't he's not a character in it at all. You don't know he's there. It's a
he's the
type of
audience pretty much.
documentary style that's not even letting you in on questions or even concerned with the subject repeating the question as it was stated so you can edit it in and have context. It was just aware that the audience can understand. The audience can pick up, and if you're clean in your footage and you're showing enough of the environment and context, you're going to pick up so much more. You're going to pick up vibes, you're going to pick up feeling, you're going to pick up these things that you may never be able to express or get a subject to express, but then you can show it and have it felt. Another one I really recommend of his is he made one about Leon Russell, and Leon Russell over like the period of like 3 years in his Oklahoma studio. Um, I didn't give you that one because I couldn't remember how you felt about Leon Russell or how you. I know you have some mixed feelings about like that folky 60 sound kind of deal. I know it's not quite your bag, but that's another amazing piece by him.
But here's the thing, though. I am not opposed to watching this go because I watch pretty essentially any documentary about anything because I love documentary. So I mean, I
Well, I
would
would
still.
recommend that one next, and even to the viewers, a poem is a naked person. That's what it's about. And I think what Les like why his style is so cool, and even why what he did with Bird and Dreams is so cool is like without. I mean, I know there's a lot of effort put into it, but it seems almost effortless that he was able to show what genius looks like. This is what creative genius is, and these people that I'm showing you in this absurd environment or these weird places, whether it's in a studio in Oklahoma or in fucking the fucking jungles of South America, um, this is what a creative genius with ambition looks like, and that's hard to capture.
Oh
And it's
yeah.
hard to capture it authentically without that person really knowing it. Like Werner Herzog and like any of those people on that set, I don't think they even knew that Les Blanc was there sometimes. I don't think like even in the interviews with Werner Herzog, they were so candid that he was able to say these intensely profound things, and it was he got there without having to be led. He got there without having to be pushed. Things were so natural, it just
Yeah, I was gonna say it's
came
so
out.
organically filmed. Like you almost feel like you're kind of there with him environmentally, like and he's not even like really part of it at all. Like you're just kind of you're almost on the outside looking in, which that's to me like the sign of any good documentarian.
And that is the definition, what you just watched, that is the definition of a cinema verite documentary. It's direct cinema for a reason.
Well, I mean, you did it again, sir. I mean, I'm waiting because I mean, you haven't really given me in a long time one that I haven't gelled with. So I
Yeah.
mean, and vice versa. I'm hoping to keep this train rolling. So
I love it, even if it's something that I don't. And that I think that's what's cool. And this is a really good way to end this conversation. Always is like, at least with how I am in movies, is even if I don't like a movie, I'll be able to tell you, yeah, it wasn't my cup of tea or it wasn't something I gelled with. But I feel like what's beautiful about what we do is we find something that we like in what we're watching,
like a
regardless of
common
what it.
ground.
Yeah, even if it's like, yeah, I really didn't dig this shit, but I could see where there's elements. I could see where there's parts of this and there's
Oh, I would
genius
agree with
in it
that. Yeah,
that
absolutely.
leads to something. And I think that's to me, I think that's what's cool about watching movies, and I think that's what's cool about having people in your life who love. Like, there's people who say they like watching movies, but they don't.
Yeah.
They're finding problems in everything they see, and yeah, some don't get me wrong. Like, yeah, sometimes you're gonna watch something that just fucking blows, but you have to be able to understand like is it what they're trying to do? Did they fail? Like, what was it? And sometimes as you're trying to think about what was going on in that movie, you may find something that you went, yeah, I kind of actually dug where their head was at with that. Harmless self promotion to another podcast we both done with your buddy Duck.
Yeah,
He brought me on to watch an Amityville thing that, if you've listened to this podcast and then listened to the conversation I had about the Amityville void that he showed me,
for
you'll
God's
know.
sake, get out. Make sure you check that out
Yeah,
too.
check that out. You'll get to hear me not really like a movie at all, but you'll also hear me finding things in it that I'm like, okay, that was cool how they went about it, or like they went about it as, they were young kids, so it was like they went out and made a movie, so I think that was fucking awesome. And
Absolutely.
I don't know, I to me, I think that's what's important about movie watching and kind of taking it as a consumer.
Yeah, the coolest part about it, and it just kind of sparked me when you were having that conversation, is there's people. I think once you like are so deeply in the cinema and you love movies so much that most people go to see a movie and they just see the movie. Like whenever you're so deeply ingrained and you love cinema like we do, you see 500 other things at the same time. And it's funny because I love watching, like, my wife before all this was just the kind of where you watch the movie.
Yeah.
Now I watch her and she's like, "You turned me into a snob." Because now I'm looking about the score, I'm looking about this, I'm thinking about the director, I'm thinking about this and this and 20 other things. And that to me is the utmost compliment. So yeah, I mean that's I think that's the difference. Whenever you're so deeply ingrained and you love it so much that you're looking not just straight ahead, but you're looking at
Yeah.
the big picture. So
And I mean, it's sometimes it's not as hard to do as some people make it seem. It's really, if you're watching, I mean, just as long as you're not that person who's sitting there on your phone, like just like texting or fucking tweeting or doing something else other than consuming the thing in front of you, like it's really not, and it makes every experience so much better. Like, even if you're watching something that is so fucking preposterous and probably never should have been made, like a movie like Psycho Cop, there's no reason for a movie like that ever to
that's
be made.
preposterous.
Listen to the next word. But it's a great time fucking watching. That was because
And
that's
in
the
the
first
end, dude,
movie I
that's
could think.
really all it is about, being entertained. I mean, it doesn't matter if it's 100 million or 10,000,
Yeah,
but the end game is still the same, and that's the
yeah.
beauty. Mm.
There's always, and I think that was the first example that came to my head because it's one of those movies to where it's not saying anything at all.
I
There's
mean, nor
nothing to
does it
love
want to.
service. It's just tits and
It's
violence.
turn your brain off
Yeah,
and have a good fucking time.
yeah. And movies can be all of those things. You just have to be willing to engage with it. And sometimes, if you're willing to engage with something that you may not think you like, could make you uncomfortable, or you're worried will make you uncomfortable, you're going to miss out on some really cool shit.
I mean, I tell people about that with Asian cinema because, like, I know people that are, or even foreign cinema in general. I know people that are adamantly against. I always hear this all the time. I'm like, "Did you ever see Battle Royale? Did you ever see Verse? Did you ever see this? Did you ever see Story?" And they'll go the same thing. Oh, I don't want to read a movie. Do you know how many things that you're depriving yourself of that's so fucking amazing just by being that person? Like, you're turning off, like, 60% of like the best movies ever made. Like, I mean, yeah, and it's sad. Like French movies I love. Like I'm a fan of foreign film,
Yeah.
period. And if you're gonna be the person where it's like, oh, I don't want to read my movie, you're missing out, man. Like you're
Yeah.
missing so many great things that sometimes is even done better and with more purpose than we do.
And if you're one of those people who's like, I'm not a strong reader, I'm going to miss things. Guess what? If you watch more of those movies, you'll become a stronger reader
Well,
by watching
not
movies.
only that, like it almost becomes like a fluidity after a while because like you
Yeah.
don't even read anymore. It just happens organically. Like that's what I try to explain people. Like it's gonna be difficult once or twice, but then it's just become like fluid. Like you don't even think about it. But I tell you what, I've actually had a few people that's actually I've turned them on to it, and they're like, I don't know how I've been missing all these fucking years. Like I just by being a stubborn asshole. So I mean, that's my biggest key piece of advice for that. But I tell you what, man, I feel like we had another great episode, and
About
it
40,
went. It always goes like this, man. I have to
we
say,
look up, and 40 minutes is gone.
yeah.
Well,
And I
from
don't want to.
from your movie snobs friends, back to you. I'm Matt Wills Onesti.
I am balls from Elwood.
And click subscribe. Tell your friends, tell your family.
Tell your
Um,
Aunt Mabel. Tell that smelly bum on the
yeah,
street that smells like condensed milk, shame, and piss.
tweet
Anybody.
it, comment, tell us what you want us to watch next. Maybe we've seen it, maybe we
Ooh.
haven't. I don't fucking
Ooh, I like that idea. Let's do
yeah,
that. Yeah, you guys send in some suggestions and then we'll get on that. That sounds like
yeah.
cool, man. Good idea.
All
But
right.
anyway,
Well, that
I will
was
see
movie
you again
snobs.
next time, homie. It's always a pleasure. I love you, bro.
Love you too, Holmes.
Peace and love.